They pump water out of the river into these systems for irrigation, so therefore these waterholes don't dry back naturally. They're full of water for 12 months of the year, and this really enhances the weeds. It's hard to control. They grow faster than you can control them.
Spraying them has been our cheapest form of control for the last 15 years, but we're going to be doing that for forever and a day more if we don't change the practice. And the herbicides doubled in recent times, so the costs are going to go up. We have the water hyacinth that comes in as the primary infestation. Now the roots do play a role in grabbing sediment, cleaning the water and taking sediment in the root systems, but if we spray that and they sink, all that sediment also goes to the bottom of the lagoon. So it takes a lot of the oxygen out. There's a bacteria that uses the oxygen to break the weeds down. That's not very good for fish. The fish don't live in there. And also the nutrients are re-released into it and then are flushed back out into the ocean. And also if they don't sink in time, this is what you get. You get the grasses and the sedges all growing, they bind it. So it's just growing hydroponically. So this could be 2 meters deep here, but you've got 3 types of weeds growing in various stages. This has been sprayed a couple of times. That looks like it's hard ground that I could step on, but if I push on that, you can see it's floating soil or floating peats. It's silting up these creeks, the lagoons, so the lagoons actually will fill up from the bottom, and if you do get a flood, there's less volume in the creeks, so floods are more likely to break out also and flood surrounding infrastructure and properties. When we want to work with the weeds, so they are extracting nutrient out, so if we can actually pull the weeds out, we're also pulling nutrient out of the water. We're taking sediment out as well.
It's going to be an ongoing problem, and it's going to get to a stage where you've got to get them out of the water. You can't just poison them and let them all sink. Moved away from that now. You need to remove the weed, which is next stage.
We actually want to compost the weeds and put them back on the paddock, so they're improving the water holding capacity of the paddock. The compost holds onto a lot of nutrients, so you don't get your deep drainage and nutrient loss into the groundwater. So it's a benefit to the farmers and the waterways. The way the conveyor is designed, so you've got a conveyor belt inside that's got little rails along that the weeds hook onto and they come up. The belt feeds up and the weeds drop off the top here. It can go higher, so we can park a ute or a small truck under here. The truck then drives over to a farm and puts them in a compost area for composting.
Scott approached me, it was a few years back now, so it's been an ongoing project with a couple of sketchbooks ideas and whatnot, and I just sort of converted that into self-propelled motorised conveyor that is also road legal to tow on the road for transport. It's pretty easy just to reverse it in, start it up. It's got a small petrol engine on it which runs a hydraulic pump, and then from the hydraulic, and we have it on a remote system so the operator can stand up to 15 metres away.
And we could have bought something similar off the shelf from overseas, but we actually looked at putting the money back into the local economy, so getting a local fabrication company to build it. The beauty of that is if anything goes wrong, we can take it to a local shop to get it fixed. We're waiting for the amphibious excavator to come up because we need to pull some of these weeds away that are bound together so we can actually feed the floating aquatic weeds onto the conveyor. We will really need a machine in the water, like a boat, to push the weeds onto the conveyor. The council does have an old weed harvester, but that has its issues with, it's very slow to stop. It's very slow to move around, very hard to get into areas. You need to get a flatbed truck and then a crane, so it costs about $600 before you even do any work. Where the little weed harvester is a boat. We're looking at, it's 4 metres long, you can tow it around and launch it at any of the boat ramps.
Like Scott said, we need a secondary vehicle here to help push the weed to the elevator, but yeah, that's a work in progress. We're working on it.